Today we're going to be practicing a way to multiply binomials so that we can take something that looks like x plus 2 and x minus 2, for example, and turn it into something that looks like ax squared plus bx plus c. So we know that as our standard quadratic equation. Well, let's look at it here. So let me share my screen. Just like PEMDAS, where we use the acronym to remember order of operations with parentheses, exponents, multiplication, division, addition, and subtraction, to multiply things like x squared, or rather, sorry, x plus 2, x minus 2, we turn that into something that looks like this. Like I said before, ax squared plus bx plus c. So how does this go? This turn into this down here? Well, we use FOIL. What does FOIL actually stand for? What does it mean? How do we use it? Well, what it stands for is first, outside, zoom in here, inside, it's a little messy there, and last. So again, if anything's written messily and you can't read it, please just let me know and I'll clean it up or tell you what it means. And please follow along. You can copy down these notes because they're going to help you for the exercise that we're going to do in just a second. So what does this mean? First, outside, inside, last. Well, if you look at the order, all of the terms in the binomial pair that we have here, we have two binomials, you can see that there are first terms in each pair. There's outside terms. If you look at it all together, there's inside terms, and then there's the last term of each. So that's what we're going to use. So let's look at the F. I'll circle that in a different color. The F in FOIL is the first. So let's look at the first ones, x and x. Well, what happens when you multiply x and x together? X squared, right? So let's write that. That comes down to be x squared. Okay, so first, that's already done. All right, so let's use another color for the next one. We have outside. Okay, what are our outside ones? Well, we have x on the outside and we have -2 on the outside. This is not just 2, this is -2. We must always look at the sign or the operation rather. In this case, when it's in the binomial, it's working as a minus. But that same minus, when you take it off with the number, it turns into a negative. So what is -2 times that's the outside one on this side. The outside one on this other side would be x. -2 times x. That comes down to be just -2x. Put them together. You can't do anything else because they're not like terms. So let me rewrite this negative sign. Minus. Okay. Next, we have inside. So let's get that. Get the color here. Inside would be this one, +2, right? And x, +2 and x. That would be +2x. We're almost done. Last, what would our last ones be? So let me erase some of these lines here. Confused. The last would be, let me get a different color too. 2 and 2, but it's not just 2, it's +2 and -2. So remember from integers, when we have a positive and a negative, the sign just turns negative, right? The negative is the stronger sign in this case. So we go and make that 4, but a -4. And in the case of the whole equation, it's going to be a -4. All right, are we done? Well, not quite, because we have to put together the like terms. So x is not like any other. There's only one x squared, but there's another x term here, just single x, not x squared. So we have 2x and +2x. Those are the same, so we're going to give them a different underline, but they're going to be the same to each other. And this last term is not like any other, so it's going to take a different underline from all of the other ones. Put together the underlined terms that match, x squared just comes straight down. Then we get these two, right? Plus and minus and plus rather. Minus 2x plus 2x, that's just going to cancel out. So that's just going to be plus 0, x, if you want to just keep track of everything. And then minus 4, bring that down, because that does not interact with anything else. Rewrite this in a simple way. You don't need to write 0x, because 0 times anything is 0. So x squared plus, x squared minus 4. Always keep track of that sign. So that's how you would write this as a quadratic in standard form. There you go. It's a little messy there. Any questions at this time, please let me know. So this is a sample exercise or a sample lesson. So this is when I would answer questions and clarify anything in the notes that went too fast. And now let's move on to exercise. So with those notes, let's look at this set of exercises here. Let's skip number 1. It's a little too easy. I'll let you guys practice that on your own. Let's do a little more challenging one. Let's do something like number 6 together. Okay. So number 6 has x minus 6 and x plus 2. Let's follow FOIL. Always good idea to write down the letters somewhere when you're starting out, because it'll help you remember. So FOIL, I'm just going to write it over here in the corner. Okay, so when we FOIL, we do first. First would be x and x. That would be x squared. That's where the first comes, okay? Change colors again. Then we have outside. That would be x and 2. So that would be plus 2x for the outside. Then we have inside, negative 6 and x. That would be minus 6x. You can't put those together. Or rather, they can't multiply. They just stick together like that. And then the end would be minus 6 and positive 2. That we can do. So that would be negative 12. Oh, let me change the color for that last one. Just keep it straight. Negative 12. No x, because these are just single numbers. Let's put this together again. So here's the method. 1 line for the first one. This one changes. 2 lines. This one's the same as the second one. And this one's different from all the others. So we put them together. Bring down what you don't change. And we have x squared does not interact with anything. What's 2x minus 6x? Negative 4x. That's what you're left with. So that's this, that, there. Okay. So far, so good. Last one, that changes nothing. This doesn't interact with anything, so we're going to bring that minus 12. And look at that. We have now turned our binomial into a nice quadratic standard form, ax squared plus bx plus c. These look the same, right? They're similar. That's supposed to be an arrow. So they look similar. This is what it's supposed to be like. Sometimes you don't have a b because it cancels out, like in our example, in the first one, but this does. So now we're going to work on these together and practice our FOIL steps. Okay, so make sure, don't skip any steps, and we're going to write everything down on our pieces of paper that we're working on. And as we go along, I'm going to do each answer on the board right here. So please follow along on the board and look at the notes that we took. Okay, that's going to be your walkthrough steps for if you get stuck. And of course, ask me as we go. Okay, so let's begin. And timeout. That would be a little sample of the way I teach concepts for algebra. And it changes for every subject, but the thing that's the same is I like to use this whiteboard method because they can really go back and take notes. They can download it. They can add homework if they have a PDF of it or a printout, and we can work on it together. It's a much easier way to be doing remote learning. It's been a hit with all of the students I've worked with so far, and I hope that this gives you a good idea of how I like to work. So my name was Ulises Gonzalez. You can call me Ulysses, and thank you very much for taking the time to watch my video.